welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the channel if you are new. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and thanks for watching. So this video is kind of a expanded, remixed video of a video I've done previously, and this is because a subscriber, and I massively apologise because my mind has gone completely blank and I can't remember who it was, has asked me to do a video about all things distress ink. If you've followed my completed pages videos, you will know that I absolutely love a distress ink page background. I don't really use them for anything else yet because I haven't really got the small fine tools to do it, which you'll see in a moment. So I'm just going to talk through like how I store mine, the tools that I use with them, and then I'm going to work on the background for the page that will be our colour and chat page. I was going to say this month, but we've not got long of the month left, but definitely the page I'm going to be working on as we colour and chat. So I store my distress inks in I have like a tower drawer set, and I just have a drawer. I'm going to show you the drawer now, don't judge me, it's a little bit crazy. I store them in this tray. I have my mini pads here, which I need to order some more. I meant to do it last week and I completely forgot. And I have my larger pads just at the back. I've got lots of brushes, as you can see. These were on a special offer from Craft Stash, and they were all one pack, so that's why I have all of those. I'm not like a crazy blending brush fiend. That is clean as well, it's just stained from use. And then I have these ones, which I do prefer. These were just from Amazon. I do need to get some more. These are much softer than these, and I can work better with these. That's probably just me. I probably just need more practice with those. These are all one size. This is 5 different sizes, so you have the big one and they just go down in size and you get this really cute small one. Again, it is clean, it's just I used a lot of blue last time. So I store them in this little tray, and I try and keep them colour groups, like colour family groups. I have all my greens, my blues, reds, into pinks, oranges and yellows, and then I have these 2 random ones here which they just don't really fit anywhere yet, so they just stay in there. Obviously, as I get more, this might have to change because I might need to start building them up, but this just helps me look at the colours and I think, right, well, they're greens, so obviously I've got darker greens, I've got some lighter greens. It just helps me pick them. Like my blues, I know my darker ones through use of these. These are very pale, these are very sort of vivid. Again, with the pinks, these are much paler than this. This is very pale, these are much darker. And same for oranges. So again, I just have them this way because I know how they work and know what they look like. The only thing I haven't done, I haven't swatched them because I've not worked out how I'm going to do that yet. I should probably set a swatch page up in my book and do it because it will make it even easier for me. Because as you'll see after, when I'm picking my colours, I am just blending on a piece of paper and seeing what happens, and if it, if they go, if the colours match. And obviously then I have at the back my large impact pads. These are the newer colours. So we have prize ribbon and we have villainous portion. That's the distress ink. Oh. And then underneath that I have my distressed oxides, which you'll have seen me use before. I've got twisted citron and villainous portion. Again, I bought the villainous portion as like a little pack. So I got that, the ink and the acrylic. So that's why, if you're thinking why have I got 2, I will show you the difference between the distress ink and oxide on a piece of paper, because you may be wondering why I've got 2 different ones. They do create 2 different effects, and these blend easier because they stay wetter for longer. And then also in this drawer, I haven't actually used these yet, but I have two Dewdrop Inks. So the Memento, I've got Summer Sky and Lulu Lavender. I definitely need to have a go with these. They're just very similar, little ink pad, and you can just use your brush to apply the ink. I've just not got round to using them. And also in here is another of my favourites, but I have to be very, very careful what book I use them in. I'm using them sparingly, and it's the Distress Mica Stain. It was the Halloween set. I got both sets. They're hidden under the brushes, but these are a metallic sort of stain. It does go through your page, so you do have to be very, very careful. I have managed to get away with it not going through every page that I've used it on, but sometimes it does bleed through, so I tend to definitely not apply these straight to the page like this. I would apply it into a palette. I then tend to pick it up with a brush and splat it on that way. You get the same effect. It doesn't give that spray stain, but it just gives a splatter, which I do prefer. I'm going to actually get out the crooked broomstick because we may use that, and I'm also going to get out the empty tomb because we might use that too. I've got a little idea, guys, for a background, you see, which I'm going to speed through. I'm going to edit the video. I'll show you how to do it and then you can watch. So that is literally how I store mine, rightly or wrongly. It works for me. It's about space, as you'll see when I do my little desk tour, when I've tidied and finished. I'm basically converting my desk from like my uni workspace into my little colouring haven. And we are possibly 3/4 of the way there. So you'll see I'm limited on space or how I store things. This just works for me. It's handy. All my inks are together. And for now, it does the job. So yeah, so I'm going to now grab a piece of paper and I'll be right back. Hi, welcome back. Okay, so I've just grabbed, just excuse me while I wheel myself in to my desk. I have just grabbed a piece of paper just so I can show you the differences, because people did ask what the difference between the Oxide and the ink was. So I thought to make it a truer sort of comparison, we'd go for the villainous portion, which you have possibly seen before, but if you haven't seen that video, I will post a link when I was reviewing it. But I thought we'd just go for that again. So we have Distress Ink and Distress Oxide. I'm by no means a pro, by the way. This is literally just watching YouTube and Googling and sort of reading up on what's the difference. The Distress Oxide oxidizes with the air, so you'll see it has a different finish to the inks. These, however, do stay wetter for longer, so are easier to blend than these. I do love working with both. I just haven't got that's just it for the minute of my Distress Oxide, so may get a couple more colours that match these just so I can have a play and blend a little bit more. So let's start off with the Distress Ink. So I just take it straight from the pad, rubbing the brush on to pick some ink up, and you can see it has darkened it. It's picked some of that ink up, and this is how I do it, whether rightly or wrongly. As I say, I'm not an expert. I am just sharing what I have taught myself and what I've learned, and we'll see. So I tend to apply it to the page in circular motions, working outwards, so like from the middle, blending it out. I'm just going to pick up some more because I didn't really get much ink at all there, so I'm pressing quite firmly down. You can see it's much darker now. I press lightly at first and spread that ink out so you don't get that. I'm going to do it so you can see it like brush mark. This is one of my absolute favourite colours. It is just a beautiful, beautiful purple. And I just work slowly, to be honest, with the Distress ink. I find it easier than just banging a load of colour down. You can't take it back off. So it's definitely easier to go lightly and build up those colours. And as you can see, it's getting darker and darker. And I would just keep working on that, moving the brush around, spreading the ink out. And that's how I would apply the ink, and I would go however I'm doing it, however dark I want it. I just keep building up those layers, so I just keep building, so you can see, like building up that darker colour, and it's going to get darker and darker. And I'm working outwards, so I'm working on this circular motion, but also spreading it out. And it's just like it's the true purple colour. So if I just zoom, you can see, pick a little bit more up, and we can darken that even more. Okay, and then I will do the Oxide, the different brush, next to it, so you can see the difference. But again, it's a little ink pad. It already looks different if you compare it with that. You see it's got a white sort of chalkiness to it. You'll see that on the paper in a minute, and that's just it oxidizing. It's meant to do that. So again, it's just a case of picking it up onto the brush. You can see it's definitely picking some up. And again, lightly at first, and then spreading that out. Now, as I said, this one stays wetter like much longer, so it does give an easier blend. It spreads out much easier, but it's also a difference in colour. I do really like the colour of this. They're the same colour, but they're different, but they're still like still beautiful purple. So you could use them together, they work together absolutely fine. I'm just going to try and darken that just so you can see. I can blend it into that other one. And again, I just work in circles, but working out. And if I was doing a rounder page, I would work from the outside in, so it's darker, getting lighter to the image. That's how I tend to work with them. So I'm just going to zoom you out slightly so you can see the difference there. So you can see this one is a slightly different colour. It's not quite showing on here, but it has got like a chalky texture. So that's the difference. These are easier to blend. They have a chalky texture where they react. The colours are slightly different. Well, these are. I can't say about any of the others because I haven't got any to compare. But that's kind of it, really. They're the main differences between the two. So what I am going to do next, as we discuss all things, see, it's sorry, this still got ink on it, can you see? So it does go quite far. You can get a good, like, I would use that as like a base, and then I would start building. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I am going to grab a book that I am going to work. Well, it's Imagimorphia. I'll show you the book's here actually. So this is what I'm planning on doing. So I had a vote on the community tab, so thank you everybody who voted, and I thought I would go for this page here. One, I want to use my brand new Faber-Castell watercolours. I want to use them on this page. I want to use them with you. I don't know what I'm doing, so I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm excited, not going to lie. Just ordered a new pencil case for them. It's coming tomorrow. Obviously went for 120 because you know we're getting the set. And I picked this stencil up in Hobbycraft a couple of weeks ago and didn't really know what to do with it. And I thought this could actually be perfect for this page. I'm thinking. Like, it doesn't even have to be on the whole page. Could just be sections of it, I think. Might use that smaller brush. So I'm just going to go and grab some colours. I don't know what colour we're going to do yet. And then I'll be back and I'll show you how I pick what colours I'm going to do. I think it's bug. I think I'm possibly going to go green. So I'll be back in a second. Okay, I am back again. So I'm thinking bug. Yes, it's like a mech bug, but I'm thinking quite earthy colours. So this is how I would go about picking my colours for a background. I think of the colour theme or the colour group that I want to work with. Grab out my inks, generally all of them from that colour section, and have a little mini swatch. This is where I think a swatch book would help me massively, but never mind, it just gives us something to talk about while we're doing it. So I've got this Rustic Wilderness. I've got a feeling that some of these I haven't used. I've not used these before. I'm not sure on this, so I don't know what these are going to be like. So it's let's just have a look. So this is, oh, there's a bit of ink on there. What is this? Hang on 1 minute. This is Rustic Wilderness. So this looks like it could be quite a nice green, but it's a dark green. Okay, so that's looking quite bright on, like a bright green on camera, but it's quite dark. I'm liking it. So that is a possibility. I'm bound to forget what any of these are, so I'm just going to write Rustic Wilderness. I've not got enough brushes for this. I knew I wouldn't. It doesn't matter because I'm going to be using some of these colours. Anyway, this one is peeled paint. I think I have used this before. It's kind of, yeah, I do love this colour. It's quite an earthy, like mossy green. I like that one. That is probably definitely going to be on there. So that is peeled paint. Got mowed lawn. So this is similar to Rustic Wilderness, but I would say it is yellower. So I feel like it's brighter as well. I really like it. I really like that one. That is definitely going to be used. This is what happens. I just literally fall in love with every colour, and then we're back at square one because I can't decide what I'm going to use. We're on to Crushed Olive. Again, I don't think I've used this. And this is because it sounds ridiculous. So that I'm kind of liking, even though it's quite a yellow colour. I'm not mad about it. So the green, theme might change because I'm looking at these two now with this. Okay. So this is, I've not used this before, it's brushed corduroy. And I'm thinking, yeah, see, I'm actually really liking these colours together. Because then I could do the bug really bright, is what I'm thinking. So we may have a change of plan. It just completely depends on this. I'm going to use the smaller brush because that's what I think I'll be using on the... That was much redder than I intended. That's not the colour I thought, so that's probably not going to be the colour that I use, so I'm going to get rid of that. I'm being completely lazy and using the same brush now. That's too blue. See, this is where now my brain is now putting a sort of colour theme together now. So we start off with what I think I want. I actually think I'm going back to this. I think it's going to be these three. It's going to be those three. So we're going with peeled paint, brushed corduroy, and randomly crushed olive. Yeah. So I'm thinking these two in the background with a brown cog over the top. So let's move all of this out of the way. Excuse me. Absolutely loving filming at the minute, guys. I've got like a bit of a new setup going on so I can see what I'm doing. My phone's plugged into a monitor. I've got lots of room on my desk. I'm just going to have a drink. So don't worry, we're not just going to have absolutely tons of flip throughs. I know there's been a couple of flip throughs uploaded over the last couple of days, but I'm not gonna lie, it's just been easier to film those and get you some content out. But we are definitely this is probably going to be a double page, so I am, if the ink gets on this side, I'm not fussed because I'll pick it up and I'll save these colours to carry on the page. Now what I'm actually thinking of is using the brushed mahogany over these two colours with the stencil, like that. So I'm going to make the background out of the peeled paint and the crushed olive. So this is going to be interesting. You're about to see how my crazy brain goes about things. And what I'm probably going to do is speed this bit up because I don't want this video to be super long, as it is going to be if you watch me do it. So I'm going to apply the ink in the same technique as before. I will start off by showing you. Do you know, I'm actually tempted to work with this brush. I never normally use them, but it's already got it on, so I might as well. Or was it that? No, it's this one. So I'll start in the corner, just show you, and then I'm gonna put some music on, and I'm just gonna tackle the background, and I will be back with you when I am done. So I always put a piece of paper underneath just to stop it going on the desk and on any page, but I just apply circular motions quite lightly. Now I tend to not go fully over the illustration. I like the fact that it has a kind of glow. I'm going to use a smaller brush as well, just so I can get in, and I'll start to build that up. So I will be back with you. You can watch the progress as I'm going. So I'm going to pop some music on. I'm going to speed up, and I will be back. Okay, so I've done the background. It's not really what I had in mind, but it's got that like earthiness to it, and it does go through an ugly stage. I'm gonna maybe tidy up some bits maybe when I'm finished, but as see, I can see little bits I want to add more to, so I'm just going to do that. So that's the with this, like so many people say, oh, it just looks I try it and it just looks a mess. The biggest piece of advice I would definitely give anyone who is just starting out with using inks for backgrounds or anything like that is you have to kind of persevere. Like when I first started this before, I was like, oh my goodness, this is horrendous. It looks a mess. It's not even. There's loads of white space. There's big sort of brush marks where the brush has touched down, and I just wasn't happy with it. You have to just keep going and keep adding little bits of colour here and adding little bits of colour there. And I decided to colour over these little sort of nuts and bolts because I'm not really bothered about them. They're not, yes, they're there, and if I don't cover them with the stencil in a minute, I'll go over them with like a silver gel pen and really make them stand out, or a gold glittery one, or something to add to them. But it definitely goes through that ugly stage where you think, what on earth have I done? And that's when, don't stop. So many people say to me, I just can't use them, it looks a mess. And like, they've just stopped too soon. Like, keep going. Like, this is a bit of a mishmash of colour. It could be a little bit more greener. But I'm not that bothered because we're going to add that brown on now in some stencil, which I've never done before. So why would I not do it on camera? Can only go disastrously wrong. And I'm probably just going to, for ease, probably stencil over these nuts and bolts. I'm not that precious about them. If I want to make them into like a bit of a feature, as I said, I'll use a gel pen. I'm thinking, I've never done this before, I don't know if this is how you do it, I'm just going to do it. So maybe quite lightly, because I went very heavy with that first on the tester. I was like, whoa, brown. And I'm going to speed this bit up so I'll see you on the other side, guys. Keep your fingers crossed. I know you kind of can't see it at the minute. But I'm going to speed it up and I'll catch you on the flip. Okay, there we go. So that is the background done, and now I absolutely love how that stencil has kind of made the background look a lot better. I could probably add a little bit more olive here, but I'm not mad about it. I love the stencil. I think the brown definitely pops. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is the Splatter Effect. Now, I've used a lot of ink, and I think sometimes when it's gone through to the other side, it is when I've used a lot of ink and a lot of water. So I always have a little pot. I find this brush the best for splatting. Just a cheap hobbycraft sort of fan brush. I'm going to blob it all on. I just use kitchen roll, and I'm going to take the water back off and we shall see what it looks like. So I'm just going to pick up some water, give it a little bit of a tap, some splats all over the shop. Because I'm doing this page in watercolour, it's probably better that I'm doing this now and not when I've coloured it, because I imagine that won't end up very well. So I'm just going to, I think it's been on long enough. I just normally guess, and just when you can kind of see some of the ink reacting, lay this down flat. Just give it a bit of a smudge, squish, peel it off, and there we have a little bit of splatter. Like, it's not a lot. You can see it up here really well, down here really well, where it's gone onto those cogs and things. And probably the only thing I would do to this is maybe add some metallic, but I'm going to wait until this is finished because I get a bit splatter happy and I know I will splat it everywhere. So I'm going to leave the video there. I really do hope you found that useful in some way into how I store my inks, the types of tools that I use, how I apply them. I've just used stencil for the first time and I'm in love. So if anyone has any like stencil recommendations or places I can get stencils from, please send me an email, put me some links in the comments, because that just adds an extra dimension to the page that I've never done before, and I absolutely love it. I want to say a huge thank you if you've stuck with me to the end. It's a bit of a long one. I hope you like the kind of editing that I've done this time round. And I will see you in the colouring chat when I get to play with my brand new Faber-Castell watercolours, and we will tackle this beast. And I think probably next time you see it, this page will be backgrounded too. Maybe. It depends. It depends how busy my day is tomorrow. But thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit that thumbs up, and I will catch you in the next one. Adios.